Well, good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock right now, and my name is David Jacobs. I'm director of the IT Sector Center here at National Able, coming to you from high atop the CTA headquarters building in Chicago's West Loop. And this is IT at 10 for Wednesday, January 15th, beginning of the new year, beginning of a new season for IT at 10, so to speak. And as such, we're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions. And it's real easy to make a huge long list of these, but we're going to limit these to the top 5 New Year's resolutions for job seekers within IT specifically, but certainly a lot of the advice we're going to talk about today could be applicable to job seekers of all types as you start the new year and look to continue your job search. Just a reminder, I've got everybody muted on today's call. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat function of the GoToMeeting control panel, and we will address your questions as we wrap things up, hopefully in about 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So top 5 New Year's resolutions, one every 2 minutes here. Number 5, relearn how to learn. What do I mean by that? You know, if you're a job seeker that's gotten hooked up with the WIOA system here in Cook County, odds are you're going to be pursuing training. Odds are you're trying to enhance your skill set. And if there's one thing I've found in talking to candidates in the last couple of years is that if you're an adult learner, it's been a while since you've been in a classroom environment. I've got 3 kids. Many of us have children. They're all back to school after a long winter's break. But you know what? They've been students for a long time. They understand how to learn, how to be in a classroom, how to interact with other students toward a successful outcome of a good grade at the end of the semester. If you've been working and you've been in the labor force for 20 or 30 years, it's been a while since you've have to have been in a classroom. And that's a muscle you haven't exercised in a while. So by relearn how to learn, I mean take advantage of all the tools that are available to you to help you pass a certification exam and absorb the information. Don't just sit in a classroom. Talk to your training providers about outside the classroom resources that are available. Plenty of web options, plenty of e-learning, plenty of things you can put on your phone to help you review for exams. Connect with the students that are in your classroom and remember that they're learning as well. And just as much as when you were in high school or college, perhaps you set up study groups to help you learn and master information, you got to do the same thing right now. We learn best when we learn from others. So top 5 New Year's resolutions, number 5, relearn how to learn. And remember that that's a muscle you might not have exercised in a while, and it might be a bit atrophied as a result. Number 4, in the top 5 resolutions, particularly for IT job seekers, watch out for certification changes in the coming year. Last year, the CompTIA set of certs, the A+ certification program, went through a massive change. They went to a new version. This year, there are 2 that we know of, at least right now. The CCNA certification program will be changing here in the next 2 months. I believe the end of February is the deadline date on it. CCENT is going away. The Cisco entry-level networking technician certification is going away, and it's going to be replaced by a more comprehensive CCNA exam. The Project Management Professional certification, the popular PMP amongst WIOA job seekers, that's changing over the summer. We expect that new material is going to be released sometime in the spring. If you're preparing for an exam, if you're pursuing WIOA-funded training right now, it's time to start asking questions about, hey, what's in the next set of exams? Because particularly if I'm taking a Cisco exam, if I'm taking a Cisco class right now, odds are I'm not going to be ready to take that exam come the end of February. So what should I be doing to prepare for the next exam? Has your training provider made adjustments to the new curriculum? For both Cisco and the Project Management Professional certification, these are wholesale changes to the curriculum. These aren't minor tweaks. So if you're preparing for a certification exam, make sure you're preparing for the right one, and then continue to watch all of the certs that you have in your portfolio as you prepare for them and make sure you're studying for the right exam. Number 3 on our top 5, hey, clean up your social media accounts and remember that everything is a resume. It's not just what you've printed on a page, something that you're sending to a potential employer via email. Everything counts as a resume. And the things you have on your LinkedIn account are important, but the things you have on your Twitter account is important. The things you have on your Facebook account or any of the spots where you touch social media, all of that acts as a resume. All of that is your public face. And all of those things are fair game for employers to be looking at as they're making the decision as to whether or not to hire you. We're in January right now. The weather's a bit on the bad side. Now's a great time to scroll through all those accounts and make sure that that's projecting an accurate rendition of you as a job seeker and making sure that's presenting a face to an employer that you want them to see. Top 5, number 3 of that. Number 2, network, network, network. Reach out to everybody. Beginning of the year, great time to use a tool, particularly like LinkedIn, to reach out to professional acquaintances that you haven't done for a while and hook up with them and say, hey, just a reminder that I'm on the job market right now and I'm looking for a job, perhaps as an IT help desk technician. If you hear of anything, please reach out to me. LinkedIn's also a great tool to utilize as you're in the job application process itself. When you apply for a job, take a look at that company. See who you know that works for that company. LinkedIn's a great tool for that. See who you know who might know somebody, a second degree acquaintance that might have a connection at a company. Anything you can do to get past an applicant tracking system and get your resume put on the desk of an individual decision maker is going to be helpful. And how do you do that? You network with other people. Network with them virtually, network with them in person, start attending trade group meetings, the Illinois Technology Association, CompTIA. There's all kinds of industry groups around here where you're going to be in an environment with other folks that are in your industry that share your interests, and it's a great way to hear about what's coming up. Particularly if you're new to the IT industry, find a mentor somewhere. Find a mentor either within your training provider, an instructor, somebody in the room you took a class with. If you're involved in some sort of paid internship or subsidized work experience, find somebody there who you can rely on for solid advice, not only on the technology side of the industry, but on the job seeking side of the industry, that professional career development side of the industry as well. And then finally, our number one, an obvious one that we talk about all the time here on IT in 10, target your job applications. Don't just use a scattershot approach. Don't use a shotgun approach where you're just sending out hundreds of the same resume every day. Take a look at individual companies. Target a company you want to work for. Find out as much about that company as you can. Use your networking skills to find people you know within that company. And then when you make a submission to an individual job, target your job application as much as you can. Don't just have one resume, have a different resume for each time you apply for a job. Look at the words that are used, look at the skill sets that are used, and mirror that when you make the application online. Everybody knows that it's not an HR person whose desk these applications wind up on. It's that black box of an applicant tracking system. And getting past that applicant tracking system means mimicking in many ways the language that you see on an individual job order. The more you do to match that language, the easier it's going to be for you to get past that first gatekeeper. The more research you do on a company as you're making the job application, the easier it's going to be for you to answer questions as you get into the interview and hiring process. Those are the top 5. I don't see any questions here. I will say, if you're interested in learning more, the IT Sector Center is hosting an event on January 30th in conjunction with the National Able Network Auxiliary Board of Directors. These are younger professionals, folks that are working within industry who come out and help our candidates brush up on their resume and brush up on their interviewing skills. It's an evening event. It's low touch, 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 30th. There's a phone number there if you can call if you're interested in registering. You'll hear advice from people like me and other staff members in the IT sector, but you'll also be able to talk to real world professionals who are involved in the hiring process at companies and hear their advice as well. We had the whole HR department from a local bank come out and assist us with one of these events last quarter, back right toward the end of last year. Registration is open to everybody, IT job seekers, not IT job seekers. It's going to be held here at the National Able headquarters at 567 West Lake Street. And if you're interested in registering, please call that phone number and let them know you're interested in registering. Or if you'd like to see the flyer and the link, feel free to reach out to me directly at djacobs@nationalable.org. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll do a little bit of overview for the coming year. We'll talk about the jobs outlook here in Chicago for technology jobs, and then the training outlook as well. What kinds of technologies are coming down the pipe, and how can you best prepare yourself for those things in the coming year? As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Don't see any questions on the chat panel here. I'd like to thank everybody for coming today, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.